My name's Amber Oliver and I'm going to show you a fun craft project today using nail polish. So if you're like me, you probably have a huge stash of it in your bathroom, and I'm actually terrible at painting my nails, so I basically just collected all this nail polish that I never use. So I decided today I'm going to do a fun little Halloween sort of fall themed craft using that leftover nail polish. So I've got a stash here of a ton of different colors that I have no idea why I really even purchased, because I don't think I would ever have lime green nails, but this is going to be fun for this craft project. Now these are all just dollar store nail polish. I'm not using my fancy, $10 a bottle stuff. This is just any of the cheap stuff that you more than likely have got some laying around your bathroom or something like that that you can use. So this project uses just the nail polish, and the only other thing you need besides, a pumpkin, which is what we're going to decorate today, is a bowl of water. So I've got this big, this is like a mixing bowl I had from my kitchen, and I filled it with just some room temperature water, and we're going to do a fun decorating project with this. So these are real pumpkins. I just kind of cleaned off the outside. There's a little bit of dirt on there, just kind of rub it off. And what you do is use the nail polish. You're going to put it on the surface of the water, and we're basically going to pick it up off of the pumpkin, or onto the pumpkin. So this one is a glow polish. I'm going to try that one with this blue, and we're going to see what this looks like. So I just kind of shake them up, and we're going to pour it right here on the surface of the water. And it's actually really cool because, I don't know, my husband could probably tell us why it sits on the surface. I guess it's denser than the water or something, but it floats on the surface. And so you do need to move kind of quickly, but you'll see when I pour this in, it'll just kind of fill and sit on the surface. See there? Bits of it will kind of fall, but most of it will just sort of float. So I'm just picking a couple of colors. And I do want to move kind of quickly because it tends to start hardening, because that's what it's supposed to do, right, on our nails. And to kind of mix it in, I want sort of a watercolor look, so I'm just going to use a toothpick, and you'll see it's already sort of hardening. So I just want to gently pull this toothpick through the water and make sort of a fun design. Now, the key here is you want to spread it as much as you can over the surface of the water. And use up as much space, because this is what's going to cover more of the pumpkin. So I'm just kind of spreading this out. And I didn't mention, I'm coming to you live from Houston, Texas today, so be sure to drop me a comment, let me know where you're tuning in from. I'd love to see. Okay, so just kind of be careful because your nail polish obviously is wet, so if you want to set anything down, make sure you've got some newspaper or something like that. So you see I've kind of spread that out over the surface of the water, and nothing special was added to the water, just the nail polish. So I've got this one that I've sort of cleaned off a bit, and what we're going to do, I'm using a pumpkin for this project, but you could use almost anything, and I'll show you also at the end another thing you can do. But we're just going to roll it through, and it's literally going to pick up the nail polish. So just kind of watch this as I roll it through the water. You'll see it just picked it up.
Oh, wow.
See how it picks it up? Now you can see there's still some in there, so what I'm gonna...
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh! Well, don't hold it by the stem, but it still worked.
Oh no.
So it's okay, I'm just gonna have to glue this back on. That was great. But yeah, so it still looks good. I'm gonna have to glue that back on.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. My husband got a little wet. Sorry about that.
Let's scare the dog.
Oh, the dog's okay, don't worry. So that's okay, I made a little mess, so maybe be careful if you're doing this, somewhere in your house that has nice carpet or something like that. So luckily, this is just my craft table, we're in my craft room, so I'm not too worried. Let's see, let's try another one. I kind of need to dry my hands. We can put that on the blooper reel. Okay, so be very careful when you're,
Oh, you got some on your shirt.
yeah, I'll clean it off. So another cool thing you want to make sure you have on hand is acetone, because that's going to clean off. So where I got it here on the table, I'm just going to use a little acetone to wipe off. And this is just an IKEA tabletop that has a nice surface. That's why I use this one for crafting, because it's really easy to clean off when we're done. So despite that little misstep, you can see that it totally works. It just pulls up off the surface of the water, and it'll sit here. So I have some newspaper out that I'm going to set it on to let it dry. We're in my office, but we have the window open. So this is a very strong smelling project, so just be careful if you're doing it indoors. make sure you're properly ventilating.
Yeah.
Also, make sure you're putting down a lot of newspaper and things in case you make a mess like I just did. So there's one. And so what I would normally do, I'll probably move on to a different pumpkin since I kind of broke this one. But after this sort of dries, you can do the process over again and then add on to the different sections. So I'll show you a finished one I have back here. This guy, I'm not going to pick up by his stem because that clearly is a bad idea. So here's one I did that I dipped from the bottom, and you can see I used a lot more colors on this one. So this was one pass right in here where I dipped it through and it pulled up. And then I had this big blank area, so I kind of added some more colors, and that one didn't do so hot. So some of the colors you can see don't do quite as well. That green, and of course I'm using this on just an orange pumpkin, but you could do it, you could paint the pumpkin first, or get those little boos, the little white pumpkins. That might be sort of a nice white surface to start on. The colors would really pop. But
like a gourd or something?
Yeah, you could do this pretty much on any shape if you wanted a different color pumpkin, but this just kind of gives you an idea. So I'm gonna do one more, and I'm gonna try not to hold it by its stem because, dude, that like broke right off. But the good thing is we have glue, which actually, well, I'm gonna use some probably heavy duty glue to put this back on. So just pretend that sits right there. Yeah, okay.
You know what you could do, since it's off, is dip the rest of the top in and then wait to connect
Genius.
it later. Okay,
let's go ahead and do that. Let's finish this pumpkin then. So I'm gonna add some, I'm just gonna use the same blue and green and dip it on the surface.
For people just tuning in, what is this liquid that you're adding?
This liquid is nail polish. And actually this one's pretty cool. It's a glow polish. I found this at the dollar store, but it glows in black light. So this might be kind of fun if you had like a Halloween party or something like that. You want them to look neat. So you'll see how I poured it on the surface and it's kind of spreading out. That's good. I'm gonna actually keep spreading it here in just a minute. I'm gonna add a little bit of the blue and see how it kind of starts spreading. Now, you want it over the surface of the water as much as you can, because the wider it is, the more it's going to cover. It's not so much the depth of the water, but the sort of the surface area. So I'm using just a toothpick, and you see I've got all this nail polish in here. So it does start hardening, but I want to gently just kind of pull it in so that it makes that sort of cool design and actually starts.
So this is just regular tap water out of the bathtub. You don't have to use.
Nope, there's nothing else on the surface of the water. It's just water. Okay. Now, there may be, this is like room temperature. There may be something to be said about using hotter or colder water, but I didn't try that. I've just
used an experiment.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do, so I broke this pumpkin. If you're just tuning in, we had a little misstep with that. But I'm gonna try this without getting it everywhere and pull it up. So what we're gonna do now is just dip it in here, and you'll see how it pulls it off the surface of the water. So watch this. So I'm gonna find this open area. You have to be careful because it is still wet. We're working against time here though, so I wanna make sure. So it pulls it up. So usually what you'd wanna do is wait for this to dry and then dip it again because you don't wanna touch over here, but we're going live, so I'm trying for the sake of time to finish this one all the way. So it's all sitting right here, so what I'm gonna do is just sort of roll it through there, and you'll see it picks it up and it sits it on the surface. So I got one more little area here, and I'm trying to touch it as little as possible. There we go. See, got a little zealous there. But the cool thing is I'm gonna keep the acetone here, and I can clean up any of the mess. So once this dries, we'll go back and I can dip it from the surface. That was a good tip, Eric. He said, why don't, since this broke, we could just go ahead and cover the surface. So we're gonna have to let it dry a little bit more before we dip anymore. So let's do one more. So the cool thing is, to clean up, you basically just grab it. You see how I'm just like picking it up?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you can reuse that water.
Yeah, so we're gonna do another pumpkin. I'm gonna do some pinks, some bright pink colors, but I'm just kind of cleaning off the surface of the water and pulling all this extra polish. So I'm just gonna wipe it here. So if you're just tuning in, we are doing a nail polish project. I'm just using some old nail polish I had in my bathroom that had been sitting there for ages. It's like $1 nail polish from the dollar store. It's nothing fancy, but what we're doing is you dump it onto the surface of the water. You'll spread it around a bit, and then today we're dipping pumpkins and decorating pumpkins because I love sort of like fun, colorful Halloween. I'm not so much into like the, I don't know, dark black and bats and all that. Not really my style. I'm more of a colorful pumpkin kind of girl. So we are doing this with these are just regular orange pumpkins. You can use fake pumpkins. I did do a couple. So this was just a plastic pumpkin I had. You can see I made a pretty cool design. And I painted it blue beforehand, so you'll see it's a much darker because the existing pumpkin was blue. And you'll see when you pick it up and it just kind of sits on the surface. So we could have done all the way around, but I kind of liked how you could see the existing color here and add in that new cool swirly design. So you can see the steps for this project on Hometalk. I know watching live is fun, but maybe when you actually do the project, you want some tips. Be sure to click in the profile above and you'll see a list of instructions on how to do this. So.
And we've had a lot of viewers commenting that painting the pumpkin white would look nice, get a kind of a clean background.
Yeah, I didn't have time for that today, so I like it with the orange too. That gives sort of that rustic fall. And I forgot to clean this off, so I'm going to do that real quick. So I'm just kind of rubbing the dirt off of it. I made a nice mess earlier when that stem came off, so I'm not treating these or doing anything special, but like someone mentioned, you could totally paint it white or use those, I think they're called baby boos. You can buy little, I know Trader Joe's has a bunch of them. You can buy a pack of like white pumpkins, and they're much smaller than this, so they'd be super easy to just dip through the water. These are a little bit larger. You could totally do this on like a huge pumpkin. Just use like a storage tote or something big that you could fill with water. So the main thing is that you have a good surface level, because when you decorate it, you're actually just rolling it across the surface. You're not so much dipping it. So I'll show you that here in just a second. So we've got this guy that I've wiped off the surface, and you want to be very careful not to make a mess like I did. So we're going to gently hold him by the stem. But let's pick some colors. So I know this pink looks really good. And really, I really like this green, so I think I'm going to do the pink and I'm going to use the green one more time. And maybe even the blue. Let's see. So here's the pink, and I'm just pouring it on the surface. So if you're just tuning in, we're doing a nail polish pumpkin project. You just pour the nail polish on the surface. You do want to move kind of quickly because nail polish hardens. It's supposed to. It dries. So you can see it's just kind of spreading out. I'm going to drip.
So we've got a lot of ideas and a lot of questions. People are asking, why do you roll it on the surface and not just dip the entire thing in?
Well, because I like to control where it's covering, and it does sort of, as you saw, I don't know if you saw just a second ago, it started sort of clumping up over here. And so that was when, if you don't give it time to sort of like straighten out, if that makes sense. I'll show you here when I roll it through one more time. We have to move quickly because we want this not to harden. So this is a pink and green one. I think I'm going to add some blue just for some fun.
And then also Easter eggs. We had some ideas about doing this
what?
in Easter.
That is okay, I love that. So this is great for obviously things you're not eating or putting towards your mouth or something like that. So totally great for decor. You can use it. I'm going to show you at the end of this. Another way is like a coffee mug. So anything that you have to wash might be a little bit of a hassle, but we're going to try it out on that as well, just to show you how different surfaces it can work. So you see it picked up a lot of that. I'm just going to wipe it on the edge and set it down. So we're moving kind of quickly because we don't want this to harden too much. But I guess I'll try y'all's tip and just dip it straight in. So if this doesn't work, I'm blaming you. The problem is you don't want to get it all over your hands, and I had a little bad luck with this stem last time, but let's try it. So I'm just going to dip it straight through.
It's mostly on the bottom.
Yeah, so with that, it all went on the bottom. So if you roll it, you're able to get it a little bit more around the edges. Oh gosh, okay, this is kind of messy. It does look kind of cool. See how it came up along the sides like flames? That looks kind of neat.
Yeah.
So that was I tried it how you guys suggested, just dipping it through there. And you'll see that it mostly went on the bottom of the pumpkin. So that works too. You just may want to, after this dries, go back and do it again. Because like over here, I can see it's very a little sparse. So what we could do though is once it dries a bit, we can roll it through. Actually, let me just see if I can pull. So how this sits on the surface, you can really control it. If I can just kind of pull this out a little bit. See how there's some excess over here? So I'm going to try to pull it out. It picks it up though when it starts drying. And just see if I can fill in a little bit, maybe like right there. So I'm just going to kind of roll it through. There. picked up a little bit more. So, I don't like that quite as much, but the bottom looks pretty cool. So the other problem is I don't know how to set this now. So this is a totally messy project. So I don't recommend this one with kids probably, because you'll lose your mind with nail polish everywhere. But yeah, it's really fun. So the cool thing is we can go back and we can add more colors if we decide. So this one we just did the green and blue. I could add pink to the surface here and just kind of add it in after this dries a bit. So yeah, I've made a huge mess. I'm going to try to clean up just a little bit, and I'll show you one more. So I do have another pumpkin, but I want to show you that this project, so anytime you watch our lives here on Home Talk, know that these projects are meant for inspiration. So maybe you don't like the nail polish and the pumpkins, but you think it's a pretty nifty idea. Take that home with you and use that project to make it your own. So what I'm going to show you next is that this also works on coffee mugs. So you can see that any way you want to use it, you can really adapt it to what fits in your home, your decor. Maybe you prefer darker nail polish colors or something like that. You just do whatever makes you happy. So let's see, I'm going to pull this off, and I'm going to show you next the mug. So you guys mentioned painting the pumpkin white. That was a great idea. I probably could have done that. I did some painted pumpkins because I like a little bit more colorful. But this will show you on the surface with the pink mug, or the white mug, you can really see that nail polish pop. So let's do one with, let's just do pink because that's my favorite color. And I mentioned about...
Oh, Joy has an idea.
What's that?
Doing this on old picture frames.
That's nifty.
Make a colorful picture frame.
Totally. I love it. So thanks, Joy. Thanks for the idea. Look at the surface, guys. See how it, like, it's still sitting here? So all I'm doing is taking this toothpick and just sort of picking up that excess.
Oh, yeah.
You can, like, throw this out, dump it, and start over, but for the sake of time, we're just using the same water, the same bowl. And I also filled, I used just like a Walmart bag, and so that it's not staining my bowl or anything like that, because this is like one of my kitchen mixing bowls, so we don't want to like mess it up completely. All right, so the next one we're going to do is this little coffee mug. So I've never done this, but we're going to try it out because this project should work the same way. And I was going to use the pink paint, so let's see what happens. So, with the nail polish, I'm just pouring it on the surface. And you'll see, I think some of it starts sinking, but then when it comes up, it sort of spreads out. And you want it to be there's like darker, more concentrated spots. You want a mix of both of those, like where it spreads out, and that'll give us a lot of color. But we also want those darker spots too. So you'll see when I pick it up. See if we can.
I'm seeing a lot of good ideas out there. Dipping the top end first, trying that.
We're talking about the pumpkin still?
Mm-hmm.
Cool, yeah.
Using something called a command hook. Do you know what that is?
I do, but how would you... Leave me a comment, explain that one, because I... Probably to hold it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, keep the ideas coming, because I do go back and read those comments, so thank you guys for tuning in, watching, and sharing your ideas. Now this one I'm going to do on the surface of the mug, so I'm going to just kind of roll it through and see if we can get some of this pink up on the surface. So I've never tried this, so let's see how it goes. It should be a lot easier because I have a handle to hold. Yeah. All right.
It might color the inside if you're not careful.
I'm going to try to not get it anywhere that your mouth would go, so it's going to try to just be along the bottom. Well, that didn't work. Oh well.
All or nothing.
But I don't have to drink out of this. You can totally use this for like putting flowers or whatever. Yeah.
Pencil holder.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, like you could see that when it was on the surface of the water, a lot of it kind of dispersed, and the more it disperses, the lighter it is. And then those sort of darker pockets of the nail polish, this is where it's a lot darker. So there was also a little bit of blue. So if you didn't want the blue, you definitely would want to change the water between each of these passes. But so yeah, there's just another idea of one way you can use this. Now, I don't recommend putting your mouth where the nail polish is, but so I'll probably use this as a little vase or like a pencil holder or something like that. So this is a fun like gift idea if you just need, this was a mug at the Dollar Tree, like it's $1. So you could buy some ceramic mugs and make these as gifts. You could even maybe monogram it or fill it with candy or something like that and give it as a teacher gift or a housewarming gift, whatever. So
if we had tape lying around, we could tape the top part to make sure that it doesn't
come in the surface. Yeah, that's a good idea. So I'm going to try to set this, I should have spread out a little bit more of the newspaper, but clearly I made a huge mess despite having the newspaper. So yeah, these are our nail polish pumpkins. Those are wet. These are the ones we just did. So I'll just kind of show you this finished one that I did before the broadcast. So here's what we did. Thank you guys for watching. This is the nail polish pumpkin. It just rolled from the surface of the water onto the pumpkin. So we also tried it here on this mug and on some fake pumpkins. So just kind of shows you can use this in a variety of ways. Whatever works for you, whatever colors you like. Try this project out. Let us know what you think. And thank you guys for tuning in. So my name's Amber Oliver. I blog at amber-oliver.com. My Facebook page is tagged above, so be sure to follow me there and check me out on Hometalk. I've shared this project with all the steps that you can try it yourself at home. So thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a great day and a great weekend.